Thank you for joining us for this special online event. And well, we've been doing this series. You ask, we answer series. Like we get asked a lot of questions about like noodles, ramen, like a lot of stuff, right? And then there are a lot. Well, there are things like we can't really answer because we've never done it before. But today's question comes from people who wanna start making ramen themselves, or those are who who's been running ramen shops like for over 10 years, but haven't really had done the way we've been doing, like how to make ramen, from scratch, and how we serve ramen, how we put together ramen, about ramen, and how to serve it. So, this particular question has to do with how we can put together both ramen, right, and then serve it. And today's class, I'm just gonna share and answer this question. Well, how can we put together both ramen, right? But it's Yamato style, how we've been teaching over the past 20 years at our ramen school. And let's dig in. And I'm just gonna explain just kind of briefly like how we actually put together a bowl of ramen, right, on this whiteboard. And then we are lucky to have our school instructor, who's gonna actually show us how they teach, actually learn how to put together a bowl of ramen their school. Um, bowl of ramen, right? They consist of three components, basically three components. So the noodles, soup, toppings, and the side, maybe like side dishes, right? And for example, like noodles, right? We have different variables that we can control. We can control to make different, make them different, right? So there are different types of noodles, right? And the hydration, noodle size, and noodle texture, and we can, make different shapes. We can make different flavors, right? And so the noodles and toppings, like we can have like a vegetarian type, right, and a vegan type even, like halal, then different types of meat, and then we could make them dry, or we can make to have kind of like enough moisture, right, to to cook them like a low temperature or something like that. And it kind of depends, right, how you want to present it to your customers. But when it comes to soup, right, soup is the most complicated component of all, right? All these three components of the for the ramen, well, ramen. And there are three components that that make up the ramen soup, and that's base stock, right, and tare and flavored oil. And basically, our ramen school, right, we have like 10 different basic types of base stocks that we teach, right? And then tare, 8 types, and in flavor oil, like we have like 14 different types that we basically teach, right? Every class. If like student has like particular type of soup that they want to make, particular type of flavor oil that way they want to make, right? Like we do it, right? We do it our in-person ramen school. And so we make different types like separately, right? And then, for example, like to make ramen A, right? We put together for example, like base stock, like we have like base stock A, we have base stock B. We blend them at 1-to-1 ratio. And then for tare, we use like 5 different types, right? And we put them together at different ratio, like 50% of A, 30% B, and 10% D, and stuff like so on and so forth, right? And then so we blend them at different ratios to make the tare for this soup, right? And the flavored oil, we have used like 5 different types, right? And blended at different ratios and for that soup, right? So all these like 12 components put together, we make soup for the ramen A. And for kind of same thing like for noodles, we have different types of noodles to kind of couple with the soup, right? And then as well like for the toppings as well. So we prepare like everything, like each component like in advance, right? And then put them together, right? at different ratios. So so that like we can plan actually we can plan we don't make everything at store like in store like from scratch that day when we serve it to the customer, but like we make everything like everything is from scratch, right? I mean in advance, right? So that we can make tare like different types of tare like, and then because the shelf life, right, for the tare be like usually like 2 to 3 months, right, when they are refrigerated, and on average the flavor oil 2 to 3 months, right? So we can make them in advance and then like store them and then use them a little by little, depending on demand, right? In base stock, we can make like different types, and then usually like depending on the type of the base stock you're using, but like usually like shelf life like 2 to 3 days. So we can plan ahead. We can make them in advance, the day before, 2 days before, and we can serve them, and then so that we don't have to have like a day when we we cooked the base stock, like separate base stock like too much, and then we couldn't sell like that day, right? So you have to like throw it away or something. So we can minimize the waste, and we can plan the production in advance, and most importantly, we know like how we can make like each of these components, right? And so we can know like where we went wrong. Like we there's something wrong with the taste, there's something with the flavor, then we can easily, well, we can makes it like kind of making everything like separately kind of makes it easy for us to build like a spot where it went wrong, right? Easier. So we've been teaching this stuff like ramen school like over the past 20 years, and we've taught over like 2,000 students, and so we taught like over 20. And then each class, right? Each class. So we've been doing that like for like almost every month, right? So every class, like we cook the noodles, cook the soup, toppings, everything. So we've done a lot of cooking, right? And so through these experiences, like we've developed production methods that are based on science, right? So that we call like digital cooking. And so this digital cooking, the method that allow no, this method allow anyone to have like high reproducibility of the recipes. Like once you make it, anyone can create the same thing over and over, right? The consistency in the quality, and well, if you know develop the recipe right, then you can have the high quality ramen over and over, right? And most importantly, right? So ramen, industrial ramen shops, like it's very getting really competitive, right? So you have to be unique and original, right? So these methods, you know, um, allow you to be able to like create unique recipes, like unique dishes. Because we if we it's like every shop, right? It's like follows the few recipes like well developed by kind of famous ramen shop or something like that, then it should be like all like franchise chain or something, right? So that's that's not gonna work like in this like competitive market, right? So like we need to be unique, like original, and so that the strong principles of this cooking method, like digital cooking, allow us to have like unlimited application. Like if we can apply this knowledge, like principles to many different types of dishes. So it's like you're ramen masters, like so you can tweak like certain recipes to certain ways to like have um, the or particular like taste like stick out or something to match with this type of noodle or something like that. Like you can do like a lot of like adjustment by yourself, right? So like it's great. Like other than like it's different from like learning like one recipe and how to do it like one recipe and then what two recipes like few recipes and then just like keep doing them and then like that's not learning, right? You have to be able like create new stuff, like something new, something unique, right? So that just keep learning and like keep learning like how to modify it, how to like adjust it by yourself. So that's what we teach our ramen school, and then that's what you gain. That's the kind of capability you gain like by learning digital cooking. So yeah, I think it's no, it's not really clear like how we put together a bowl of ramen like from this whiteboard like scribbles like I made like in the whiteboard. So we're going to move to kitchen, right? Then that's where like what our instructors like actually prepare the real stuff, and it's going to show us how they actually put together a bowl of ramen. All right, so let's get going. Right, so this is our kitchen, and yeah, so this is what we teach our students, and well, that's an important class, right? And so Miss Sano and she's our instructor, our ramen school, and so she's prepared like a lot of stuff actually. So thank you, Miss Sano, and so let's get started, Miss Sano, and I'm gonna be a translator.
はい、よろしくお願いします。で、今日はですね、ラーメンのスープ合わせって何だろうっていうところをお話ししていきます。
Okay, so today, like she's gonna explain, what is like soup blending, right?
で、ラーメンはスープベースと元だれと豆乳と麺とトッピングから成り立ってます。
So ramen consists of like soup base, like stock base, base stock, right? And then tare, and flavored oil, and noodles and toppings, as we kind of explained.
ですね、ラーメンスープはスープベースと元だれと豆乳から成り立ってます。
So ramen soup, like, well, is made up of like base stock, tare, and flavored oil, right?
で、ここに麺とトッピングが入るとラーメンになります。
And then adding, noodles and toppings to it, makes the ramen about ramen.
で、ヤマト、オンライン弁スクール e ラーニングではスープベースは約10種類教えてます。
Yeah, so like we've been actually, well, having like the online school like for the past probably over the past 6 months, and then online school, we already have like 10 different types of base stock.
で、それに応用を聞かせると他にも4種類とかいろいろできるようになります。
And again, like like following the basic principles like cooking method that we do, we can add like 4 more different types of base stock to it.
主には鶏とか豚をメインに作ってるんですけど、応用すると貝のスープとか、牛でスープを作れたりもします。
Yeah, so like 10 base like different types, right? Like well, they are like pork stock, like chicken stock and other things, but like applying these the principles like the method, right? We could have like well stock like made out like beef, so made up like clams and stuff like that.
で、元だれについては e ラーニングでは8種類載せてます。
So online course we have 8 different types of mutodare.
で、これも応用をすると21種類とかたくさん作ることができます。
Applying the principles, like we could have like over like 21 different types of, or more of tare.
で、最後にコンビールですね。これは e ラーニングで14種類載せてます。
Yeah, so like flavored oil, we have like 14 different types of flavored oil on our online course.
でですね、材料を変えるっていう応用をすると、他にも3種類作ることができます。
And using different ingredients, you could have like 3 or more different types of flavored oil.
で、 ですね、自分のオリジナルのラーメンを作ろうと思った時、このたくさん種類がある中で何をどれぐらい使うか決めていくのがスーパー合わせっていうふうに呼んでます。
So like with all these different options, different types of like tare, like flavor oil, like soup stock, base stock, right? So which one of these like how much of each one of these like we use, right? Like deciding that ratio, like which one, like which option we're gonna use. So that's the soup blending.
でもですね、例えば豚骨魚介つけ麺を作ろうと思った時にベースがないと何をどれぐらい使っていいかわからないですよね。
Yeah, but like well, that's kind of confusing because like there are a lot of them out there, and then like, oh, how can we make like, for example, yeah, well, seafood based like tonkotsu tsukemen dish, right?
なので、ヤマトオンラインメンスクール、e ラーニングでは基本のベースのレシピっていうのも載せさせてもらってます。
Yeah, so well, to kind of make it clear, well, like for you to have like kind of starting point, we have like the basic recipes. For example, like what this is the tonkotsu seafood like tsukemen dish, like this is our exact recipe.
例えば、豚骨魚介つけ麺はヤマトのレシピだとこういう風な分量を入れると出来上がります。
Right, so like if it's like tonkotsu seafood tsukemen, right, dish that you will make like well following this exact recipe, right, you'll be like make like very good tsukemen dish.
なのでまずはこのレシピで試してみて、そこから前後調整してもらうような形にアレンジするのがやりやすいかなと思います。
So definitely like for beginners or like people who are just kind of starting to like well learn how to like make their own ramen like from scratch, like just well first like this is starting points, like so first like you make the dish right by following this recipe, and then like taste it, okay, and then like oh it's like we want to make it like this kind of flavor like stronger or something, and then you add like well certain component more or something like that.
で、スープベース、元だれ、香味とあるんですけども、豚骨魚介つけ麺のスープベースは博多頭こってりっていう、豚のベースのスープを使います。
Okay, so like so there's a base stock, tadare, and flavor oil, right? And then for this particular skimming dish, like we use this particular base stock, Hakata like head, um, the cutlery.
で、そこに釜節とうるめ節を1%ずつ入れて、300g になるまで煮詰めます。
Right. So we add like 1% of like mackerel and rumen fish flakes, and then like simmer it.
そこに元だれっていう調味料を入れて、
And then like add tare, tare comes like all these things and add it to the soup stock, I mean stock.
で、香味油っていう香りをつけた油を入れると、ラーメンスープ、この豚骨魚介つけ麺のスープが出来上がります。
So and then adding the flavor oil, like flavor oil is basically like the oil that adds all the aroma, like smell of the like all these ingredients to the stock, right? To complete this particular soup.
でですね、今日はこのつけ麺と、豚骨ラーメンとするんですけども、同じこのバター頭こってりっていうスープベースで、2種類できるようになってます。
Right. So and then another ramen dish like we're gonna do is like it's called like Hakata Tonkotsu ramen, and kind of interesting like because this is the tsukemen dish and it's like a soup noodle dish, and but like we use the exact same base stock, right, to make two different types of like ramen dishes.
でですね、実際にこのつけ麺の方から作っていきますね。
Okay, so let's first start with this tsukemen dish.
はい、じゃあちょっと後ろ向いてもらって材料を紹介します。
Okay, let me explain the ingredients first.
はい、でこのスープが、博多頭こってりのスープになります。
Okay, so this is the base stock that we made for this Hakata head curry stock.
スープベースですね。で、それに、 釜串を入れて炊き込んだものがこちらになります。
And well, so what I took the 500 gram of it and 500 grams of it, like in a simmer it with ramen flakes and then mackerel flakes.
で、こっち見てください。これが元だれ
And so
にな
these
り
are
ます。
the tare types of tare that like we usually make at ramen school.
で、まあ、たくさんありま
Yeah, there are so many options.
す。で、ラベルが青色と黄色と赤色と緑あります。
So we have like different colored labels on them.
で、これはそれぞれまあ部類分けをしてるんですけども、
So we, like kind of categorize them like into different types of tare.
で、例えば青色のラベルのこの濃い口貝柱って書いてるやつ。
So for example, this blue label, the dark soy, the scallop.
で、これはですね、濃い口醤油と、貝の貝柱の粉末を合わせたものになります。
So this particular motare like is made of like a scallop powder and dark soy sauce.
でですね、赤色の次これ、濃い口貝柱って書いてある。
For example, like dark soy sauce, the scallop soy, but like that's a red label, yeah.
で、それはさっきと違って濃い口醤油と貝柱を火にかけたものです。
So the difference between like a blue label and red label is that like blue label, we just combine the scallop powder and then dark soy sauce, right? And we just let them sit at room temperature or something, like in the refrigerator or something for a certain period of time. But like in this red label, we actually cook the scallop powder in this soy sauce, right, to get that flavor dissolved into the soy sauce.
なので、まあ、同じ材料でも、この青色の方が火にかけてないので、より醤油感が強いような味になってます。
So these are exactly the same, made of like exactly the same ingredients, but like the blue label, we didn't apply any heat, so it's got like stronger flavor of the soy sauce.
ですね、次、黄色いラベルの方は、これは、塩ベースの元だれになります。
So the one with the yellow label is that like that's a salt-based, a shio, like salt-based the tare.
で、次に、緑はその他ですね。例えば、煮切りみりんとか。
So blue label, the ones with the blue label, like we categorize them like kind of others, like except so like for example, like this one is so like the mirroring, but like mirroring that's being can rid of like alcohol content, so that we call it the evaporated mirroring or something.
優しい甘みがつきますね。
Yeah, so that as like adding it like kind of like as like kind of gentle sweetness to the soup.
あと、まあ、合わせずっていうのもあります。
And this is a blended vinegar, we call it.
で、これは、まあ、いろんなお酢を合わせてるんですけど、まあ、全体的な味をまとめるような働きをします。
Yeah, so that is made of like kind of mix of like blended like different types of vinegar and using this sort of kind of how can I say like kind of summarizes the all like different types of taste like flavors into sort of like kind of holistic the taste or like flavors.
他にもですね、ナンプラーも使います。これ市販のものです。
And this is a fish sauce and this is something like we actually bought.
隠し味的な感じで使うんですね。
And so that's like yeah, adding a little bit like hint of like fish sauce or something like that.
こちらがチャーシューを作った時の醤油。
And and this is a tare like soy sauce like but like this is soy sauce like kind of leftover of like a sauce that we use to cook that like pork chashu, which is like slab meat like that's used for the topping.
ですね、まあ、元だれは こんな感じでたくさんの種類を作ることができます。
Right, so like we can make like different types of tare, many types.
で、この中から自分の好きなものをこう配合して作っていく。
Yeah, so yeah, we just so like you pick the whatever options that you have, like, and then blend them at different ratios.
で、こちらですね。こちらここにうがいも種類並んでます。
Yeah, so these are the flavor oils.
で、今回のつけ麺と豚骨醤油ラーメンに、使う香味油です。
Yeah, so these are the flavor oils that we use for this particular ramen dish.
で、長ネギ油とか貝柱油、ニンニク油、背脂っていうふうにあるんですけども、
So there's like leek oil, scallop oil, garlic oil, and there's like a pork back fat, the oil, garlic oil. So like basically cooking the garlic in the pork back fat.
例えば、この長ネギ油っていうものだと、長ネギの香りを油に移したものになります。
So it's basically leek oil, like basically cooking the leeks right in the oil, and then get that like flavor of leeks kind of infused into the oil.
ですね。この香味油が入ることで、ぐっとラーメンらしい味になります。
Right. So like adding these flavor oils that makes that kind of ramen soup, that kind of ramen flavor, in the way that it should be. So like smell, aroma of all these ingredients, like help ramen that your soup like really kind of stand out.
じゃあ、まず、豚骨、魚介つけ麺のこのレシピで、ちょっとスープを合わせてみます。
Okay, so let me try this recipe and like start blending them.
じゃあ、ちょっとやっていってみますね。
Okay, so let's get started.
このはかりの上に、小さいカップを用意します。
So this is how we do it like our school. So we have this scale, right? And this scale can like measure the liquid to like really very small the weight.
では、まず合わせるが4グラム入ります。
So 4 grams of like blended vinegar.
4グラムですね。で、別のカップに移します。
Okay, transfer it to the cup and
で、次にナンプラーが1グラムですね。
1 gram of fish sauce.
ちょっと入りすぎましたので、
This is a little bit too much.
外します。1グラムになりますね。次、チャーシュー甘口が10グラムです。
So this is the chashu, the sweet chashu, so like tare that we talked about, and this is 10 grams.
10グラム入れますね。次が濃い口3種生で入れます。
Okay, so this one is like dark soy sauce, like the fresh one, and like that's a like blended like three different types of like ingredients, like kind of blended, and
20グラムですね。
that's 20 grams.
で、次に同じ材料ですけど、火にかけた方
And it's exactly the same ingredients. It's using exactly the same ingredients, but like it's heated,
が10グラム。
then 10 grams.
次、塩昆布が2グラムですね。
Okay, so another one we have is salt kelp tare, just 2 grams.
で、次に塩煮干し
Then the sardine, the salt,
が1グラム。
It's 1 gram.
で、
And the, well, what do you call it, evaporate, like kind of mirroring, 13 grams.
元だれが全部揃ったの
Okay,
で、
so this is the tare, the whole thing. And so
器に入れます。スープ入れる器ですね。
this is the bowl, that, we're gonna pour the soup to.
でですね、その下に、香味油も入ります。
And you'll also add the flavored oil.
で、背脂、ニンニク、ミンチが4杯。
So, this is a tablespoon, like teaspoon. So four spoons.
で、1杯2グラムです。
Then 4 spoons, but like 1 spoon is equivalent to like 2 grams weight. And garlic oil,
ニンニク油が2グラムと、
2 spoons.
貝柱2グラム。
Mescal oil, 2 spoons.
粗ネギも2杯。
And leek oil, 2 spoons.
これも器に入れます。
Okay, so adding the flavor oil to the soup bowl.
で、ここに先ほどのスープベースを入れるとスープの完成になります。
And adding the base stock, right, that we just, simmered, right, finishes this soup.
ただ、今入れると麺が出来上がるまでに冷めてしまうので、先麺いきますね。
But like, if you add the stock, base stock, and that's hot, still, now, then, that's gonna be cold, right? When by the time like we cook the noodles and, serve the noodles. So,
でですね、麺は茹でておきました。太い麺を。
right, and then so like for the noodles, because like it takes a long time to cook, tsukemen noodles, like so I already cooked them, and so
この麺の作り方も、e ラーニングや学校の方でしています。
yeah, so we teach actually like how to make this type of noodles on online school or like of course like in person school as well.
先に盛り付けていきますね。
Okay, so I'm gonna top it.
チャーシューから。
So first like with the chashu, the bamboo shoot, then that's marinated egg,
大事なこと。
and then that's called sudachi, but like it's a type of citrus that we have in Japan, and
水がも入れます。
then that's the kind of herb that we yeah have in Japan, like kind of leafy herb. It's called mitsuba.
でですね、ヤマト麺スープでは、普通の盛り付けもありなんですけど、華やかに見えるような盛り付けの方法も、教えさせてもらっています。
Yeah, so like this is the sort of like very like I say like conventional like traditional like kind of plating style. But like we of course like we had to be different. We had the new evolving, so we teach well how to do the plating differently, like kind of more kind of um, yeah, it was like kind of with that like kind of vivid presentation kind of style.
では、スープ温めますね。
Okay, so I'm just gonna warm up the base stock, right, and then just finish the soup. So that's 500 grams of the cutlery stock with 1% to the stock-based weight of the mackerel and ramen flakes. Okay, so that's it. So that completes this dish. So this is the tsukemen dish, like that's tonkotsu seafood, tonkotsu tsukemen dish.
ヤマトのレシピで作ったんですけども、これで食べてみてもらって、ここから味を調節してもらうのがやりやすいかなと思います。
Yeah, so like this is a conventional recipe that we have like our Yama school, and for those of you like who want to sort of like make it differently, you can taste it, you can try it, and then see like how you want to make it sort of like different, right? So yeah, then exactly what you put in, right? So and then by the grams, right, the weight, so you can change them. Like if you don't like certain taste, like flavor, you can change it, like tweak it, to your liking or to your customer's liking.
でですね、このラーメンスープだけで味を見て、美味しいなって思ったとしても、この麺と一緒に食べた時、トッピングと一緒に食べた時にまた変わってくるので、そこでもまた調整が必要になります。
Right. So like if you just taste that soup, right, and then okay, like that's great, right? But like when you like eat it with like noodles, toppings and other things, then well, that's too weak. We still have like because the ramen is like eaten with like ramen noodles, right? So you have to kind of like try it with like noodles, toppings to see like if you need to more like adjustment or not. And so that you have to kind of try, see.
はい。ではですね、次に豚骨醤油ラーメン、豚骨ラーメンを作っていきます。
All right, so let's move on to Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen.
ちょっと前のまずスープですが、博多卵って300グラムです。
So base stock, right? That's Hakata head, Kotori, that's 300 grams.
でですね、そこに元だれと豆乳が入ります。
And we add the tare and flavor oil to it.
比べてみてもらうとよくわかるんですけども、つけ麺の時との元だれと比べるとだいぶ醤油感が少ないような形になっております。
So if you compare the tare, with the like what tare we use for tsukemen, right? The Hakata Tonkotsu ramen, that the soup, noodle soup dish, has like way less the shoyu, tare, right?
豆乳を見てもらうと豆乳は分量一緒なんですけども、全体合わせて、味を見てみると全然違った雰囲気に仕上がっています。
Right, so the flavor oil, the amount of flavor oil like that it's used, like basically very similar, but like when you try them, like when they compare the taste and flavor, like it's sort of different.
まず博多頭こってり 300g ですね。
Okay, so let's do the Hakata head kotori beef stock. It's weighed 300 grams. So let's take 300 grams of it. Okay, I'm gonna warm it and going to again like measure the tare. 2 grams of blended vinegar. and 1 gram of fish sauce. And the fresh dark soy tare and 3 different types blended and just 1 gram. And the salt tare, but like 3 different types of ingredients like blended. So like that's 3 grams. And kelp salt tare, 6 grams. Then sardine shio tare, 3 grams. The sun-dried salt, it's very small amount, like 0.4 grams. Okay. The oil, that's backford garlic oil, 3 spoons, and garlic oil, 2 spoons, and scallop oil, 2 spoons, and 2 spoons of leek oil. So that's flavor oil. And so we now have like tare and flavor oil. We'll measure that. Yeah, so I have this like really big bowl for some kotsu ramen today, and
ここにスープを入れるんですけども、麺がまだ茹でれてないので、まだ今スープを張るとスープが冷めてしまうので、
okay, so I want to add the base stock, but like the base stock is gonna get cold like while I'm preparing the noodles. So just gonna start the noodles first. So this is the kind of noodles that we use for Hakata tonkotsu ramen. It's very thin. Yeah, so we made the noodles today. Then we start cooking, and the cooking time is just 1 minute. And when the main time of cooking time is this 20 seconds or so, like I'm gonna add the stock to the bowl to finish the soup. Okay, 28, 20, 27, let's see, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. Okay, 20. Okay. Okay. Okay, adding the noodles there. And we want to sort of kind of disentangle the noodles, like kind of straighten them up. and I'm gonna top it. And but like no, I want to make it so like kind of like make the color kind of vivid and
まずネギとか、
kind of
なん
colorful.
か色のタレとか。
Yeah, so I made this kind of like topping like with the you know like purple onions like different things like that's chopped like in a small thinner and yeah then chashu.
3種取っていきます。大きく。
So I cut it like kind of on a large piece
ですね。豚骨ラーメンなので、キクラゲも一緒に入れます。
and tonkotsu ramen like I don't know why but like comes with a cloudier mushroom and the chopped scallion
ネギですね。ブロッコリー。
broccoli is good for your health. Then bread from tomato. Yeah, sliced lemon, but like I kind of burned them,
でですね、きゅうりもトッピングしてみます。
and it's kind of like cucumber, like but bit different from like maybe cucumbers that you guys have like in the country, but like um, yeah, it's very thinly sliced, and so like make that kind of twist like kind of make it look like kind of like and it's been moving around.
とフランと混ぜていきます。最後ラディッシュで
The red radish.
散らしてあげます。ラーメンですね。
Okay, so that's a complete bowl like Hakata tonkotsu ramen.
普通のね、トッピングでもいいんですけど、ヤマトメガコではこういうふうな華やかなトッピングの方を教えていただきます。
Yeah, so the Hakata tonkotsu, like when you hear the dish, like when you encounter like this dish, like well, there are certain toppings, certain way that like it's topped, right, with certain ingredients being on top as toppings. But you may wanna be well serve something different. You may want to serve something different. So like plating like or like topping like plating like kind of is very important when it comes to being different, like serving something different to your customers. So yeah, so plating techniques we teach also like at our ramen school, and of course like online courses as well. That's it. That's what we have for today's class. And so thank you very much for watching. And we'll hope to see you guys back in next class. So thank you so much. Bye bye.